Hi everybody, welcome back to BRFEO. I hope you have all been, killing it and slaying it during this last quarter-ish of the, not quarter-ish, but the last quarter of the year, 2022. We are so glad to be back, shooting our second last episode of the year. So this is really just mostly a gratitude kind of episode. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can click the notification bell below. Follow us on all our socials, we_r_feo. And of course, follow us, your co-host or your host for the show, Kigondulea. Yeah, Kigondulea on Instagram, and also follow me, Mohaki_Amboy on Instagram. Yeah. Are you excited?
Yeah.
So on this episode, we are going to take a moment to just look back at the year that is 2022, to just do like a recap in terms of what we have been grateful for, what we are grateful for the year, and then also take a look at the things that we have learned throughout the whole process. So, but first we will start with gratitude, right? Do you want to kick us off?
No, start us off.
All right, cool. So I think the first question I had was, what are you most proud of yourself for? So this is in terms of like what, before we give gratitude to every other person who has sort of like influenced our year and all those things, what are you like proud of yourself for, like coming through for yourself on, or like the one thing when you look back you're like, I'm grateful that I took this chance, just individually, like on you. So that's the first thing I want us to like dive in. And I think for me, I feel a lot of like gratitude for trusting myself in being bold enough to do different things this year, to do things I haven't done before, things that are make me stretch, like so uncomfortable, like things like going to the gym, doing the podcast, selling merchandise. I feel like all these things are kind of, they're not the easiest. I feel like they need an essence of boldness, of courage. So I feel like when I sit still with myself, I feel really proud that I have opted to take that chance of just being bold and just telling myself thank you, like patting myself in the back that I didn't do the, what is it called, the default of where you cage back in when stuff starts getting real. Or like when the pressure is getting worse. I think Kevin likes to use that terminology. So I think boldness in terms of just putting myself out there, even going to places I've never gone, interacting with people, I feel like that for me, like it makes me feel really grateful for my sense of self and sense of self-awareness this year that I've been able to do that.
Okay, I think for me, I think the only thing I wrote in terms of gratitude, I'm just happy about myself. Like, it doesn't have to be anything much in regards to, yes, there's a fitness and there's a lot of things, but I'm just happy that I have seen myself through the year, championed myself, being with myself, and I think that has been essentially just being grateful for just being me for the year. But also, yeah, I've had, I think this year, some good progress. Most of the things I've done this year were things that I had written down, that I wanted to do. So I'm happy that I've seen myself going through the whole process. I've been able to achieve at least most of what I had planned for, and I think that's a huge plus. Maybe the highlights, and I think we have mentioned this before, going to the gym, working out has been a huge plus. I hit my goal weight, and now mostly these goals, when you achieve them, then you just plan for the next, and you have like another goal. But I'm happy that I got to that. I was very keen on money and investments this year, so I've also been doing a lot in terms of that. Maybe not to the extent that I would have wanted this year, but I think the fact that I started the journey, I went for classes, I listened to a lot of podcasts on investment, I'm reading books on investments, I am putting in the money for the investments. I think that's a step, and that shows that there's more potential, there's more that I can do. I've gone to school, so I think just juggling a new job, starting school again, starting the podcasts, running the socks business. I think it has been, all that in the same breath. Not everything has seen the same kind of growth, which I think I still appreciate, because not sometimes everything can achieve the same level of growth, but in terms of everything that I've been doing and each thing achieving its own kind of growth in its own way, I think I still appreciate that and still recognize that there's more that needs to be done in those specific areas. But I think generally, I think I'm grateful to myself for seeing myself through all those different facets, and all those different things I wanted to do this year, and I did them, and just having the courage to go for them and just do them. So I think I'm grateful that I was able to do that. I sometimes usually feel, when I say I'm grateful to myself, I feel some type of way, because I usually feel it's not all by myself, mostly from a spiritual perspective. So I usually don't think like it's just me and my courage, and I think God has a very big part to play, because I'm a Christian. So I think it's mostly Him than me. Yeah. So I'm more grateful to God for working with me through the whole process, for remaining faithful, and then now me being able to just take that step so that I can enter into whatever God had planned for me this year.
Cool, thank you. So other than just looking at what we are like the steps we've taken and the things we've done, there, as you've mentioned, there are those people who have been with us throughout the journey. So we also wanted to like take a moment to like just dive deep into maybe, I don't know, 5 or 4 people that you are grateful for the year that was 2022. For me, I feel like top of my list would be you. I feel the growth that we have had together as a team, I feel it speaks volume to the kind of support system that we are for each other, or that you are for me, and also the kind of space that I get, or like we get from each other. I feel like this year and everything around the accomplishment this year, I feel like you have been part of that. It's like not necessarily like joined to the hip, but joined in a way that really propels and doesn't pull down. So I feel like it's empowering rather than stripping somebody down. So I feel like that aspect, like you're like top of my list on that. And then I also feel grateful for my I don't know how to put it, but there's somebody who has really shown me the value of allowing somebody to teach you how to love, or just to be vulnerable enough to accept love from somebody. So I feel like that person has really given me lessons in terms of that, of recognizing when you have a certain pattern, and recognizing when you're trying to go back into the cocoon I was talking about. So I feel like in terms of exploring relationships, or like romantic relationships, I feel like that person has been really instrumental in just opening up my mind to how a different kind of love that I haven't seen like growing up. So I feel like it gives you a view of like it kind of cancels out what you know normally from the Nairobi situations and growing up kind of situation, and it shows you an authentic love that is not like put together because of malicious intention. So I feel like that I'm grateful for that person, for their patience throughout the whole year, and their consistency, because that is something that is not easy to find, especially in terms of consistency, and then somebody loving you from where you are and not trying to change you into something that you're not. So that person. And then of course I think the other person would be my boss. Aisha, I feel like she has been very key in, like, I think she's very she's not just a boss, you know, people who tell you do this and that. No, she's somebody who's very supportive, who is very in tune with like the team, somebody who takes time to listen, takes time to internalize when you get feedback, or like when you take forward your work, they give you feedback from a, and you can tell that they've taken time to actually internalize and then kind of like put themselves in how you are thinking through the solution that you've brought forth. So I feel like that's very key in terms of growth. Even in terms of me wanting to propel, I feel like she's a very good example for such a situation, and I'm truly grateful for that. And of course, just my mom, because I think family is everything. I feel like family teaches you a lot in terms of patience, forgiveness, respect, things like this. So I'm also grateful for her, because I feel like some of the things I didn't want to do this year was interact a lot with family. But I find that I have seen my family a lot this year compared to other years. So I feel a sense of gratitude for that aspect of having not just my mom, but just the wholesome family. I feel a sense of gratitude for that. I don't know why things didn't go the way I had planned them, but I'm actually glad that I got to interact more with everybody.
Okay. For me, yeah, definitely. I think definitely be number one. Because we are doing a lot of things together. And yeah, and I also think since we started also living together, we have achieved other things individually and also still together. So I think it's the support and the space to just be and do. I think it's just a good supportive space and a lot of sharing and talking. So yeah, I think definitely. And I also, people who ask like how, someone asked me about how do you keep it consistent in the gym. I think having someone you go with to the gym, like you go to the gym with, helps more, because it keeps more accountable and it helps you become more consistent. So when you can't do it, when you feel like you're not motivated enough to go, then when you have someone else who you can do it with, it becomes easier, because you feel like there's this person that you need to go also support them in a way as much as they're supporting you, and you don't, and the fact that you feel like now you're like partners, you don't feel, you know, so it's like a gym relationship. So you want to make sure that your partner is happy and you're also happy, and yeah, so they keep you going most times. And I think that's what has really helped with the consistency for us. The fact that we help keep each other accountable, we help motivate each other when the other person doesn't feel like going. And even if both of us don't feel like going, somehow my small kawanting, her small kawanting, like can push us until to the door of the gym. Then when we get there, the gym now will motivate us. Yeah, so I think that's has been important. Same thing with fuel, and I think it's just been both efforts, like each person putting in as much as they can, and also the understanding that there are so many other things that someone also has to handle, and just having grace for each other in this moment. So I think just the fact that you provide for each other that kind of space has definitely been a plus. And I think just handling each other. Yeah, so I think it's important that you have people who can know how to handle you at the different points that you're in, despite how inconsistent or consistent they are, or like just all different. And inconsistent, I mean, like in terms of seasons, like this person this season, then this season, then this season, and all those changes that come. Yeah, so I think that has been helpful, and thank you for being part of my year. The other one has been, I feel like generally family. I don't think specific people. I just think maybe being around family most times. I think at the end of the year, um, from my show's birthday to just the other day, the other weekend, I think just interacting with just being around family is important. And today I was reading what happened to you, and they said, let me check. I think I had to write it down. That relations, I wrote, okay, that relations are one of the things that help you come back to yourself. Like if someone is actually addicted to something, they are easy to get off addiction if they are surrounded by people who care about them and people who love them. It's just that when they are addicted, they tend to push people away, and so they become worse with time. But relations, being around people who care about you, is really really important. Just feeling that you have a sense of community around you, you have people who care about you, which I know it's not usually always that you have family that cares, or maybe to that extent essentially. But for me, I think it's just being around people. I think us starting to bond more because of seeing each other more helps, and now getting over all the other things that maybe were issues before, and now maybe starting to learn each other again, and giving people the grace, and starting to just understand, oh, this is the person who they are, this is the person who they are, than just holding back to the things that you had already made up in your mind about them. So I think that has been good. My maybe one specific person, my uncle has walked with me through something I was trying to figure out, and he has been really really helpful, and he has really come through for me this year, so I really appreciate him, and we've had a lot of conversations. I feel now we are also getting in a better relationship, but I think as you mature, as you grow up, sometimes when it's your guardian, you don't know how to relate as well, maybe because you're still young to kind of understand some things. But then as you grow up, I think now you kind of start getting your footing with everyone. So I think he has been a very instrumental person for me this year, and also my younger sister. I think our relationship is becoming much better. Maybe not like contributed directly to my ear, but I'm just grateful that she's there, and we keep in touch and we check in on each other. Yeah, and though it has been a tough year, I think, but it has been. I think those situations have brought us together. Yeah. Who else? Work-wise, I think my boss too. I think she has been very graceful. I think she made the work not look so big. It looks something that you can manage to do. And I think for me, it's usually that when someone trusts me to do something and they leave it to me to do it. But they're there saying, okay, I'm here, I'm cheering you on. You decide what you think needs to be done, then I'll support you. I think that's usually a huge plus and makes you feel confident to approach whatever situation. Because when I started, I was very anxious about my work, but now I feel more confident in even taking up more tasks. So I think being created for such a space in a new job is really important, so that you can be able to kind of find your own footing in your own way. Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful, especially when you think about how everything just kind of flows into each other. The way you could separate this like work and this, but you find that what you learn, even personally, you're able to apply it to work. Like the Netflix show, the one for
the playbook.
Yeah, the playbook. Like you can apply it to work. It's still applicable at home. I feel like gratitude helps you see like a flow. It's like a flow of energy or something, like a flow in how everything in your life kind of intertwines to form just the whole, like your whole kind of like essence, if I can say that. So that's really beautiful to hear, and we will also just talk on some of the lessons that we have taken with us throughout the whole journey that has been 2022. So we can segment them into the different groups, and I'll let you go first. You can start with any that you are comfortable with. So we have relationships, money, we have family, we have what else? Relationship, money, family. Is that another one? I think those ones.
I think I'll start with
Even career.
Yeah,
Yeah.
personal wellness. And this is because I feel like it has been one of the biggest part I've been working on. I've actually just read something before I came to this to shoot this episode. And the thing was saying, I when I started the year, I started with peace, and I think I also wrote this in my status. Then but when you start with P, you know, you wanted to have a very peaceful year, but then you also decided to heal. And so what that happens is that it's healing kind of like it's like you are yeah,
I'm digging.
you're digging up something that you had already covered a long time ago, but still like appears in your life as ghosts. So that I wanted a peaceful year, like anything that felt peaceful, anything that felt calm, but having to work through things that I was struggling with, that has been quite something. It has been something I feel like it destabilizes you in a way, both emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and it, essentially people think it's supposed to be easy, but sometimes it's not. The most the easiest thing, mostly just admitting even things to yourself is very very difficult, and yeah, so I think it has been, and I think for me it has taught me more, I would say resilience, but I know resilience is like kangomo or some sort, but it also shows you that you're very resilient in terms of things that you've gone through, that you've been able to still continue and still progress despite all those things that you went through, but also being conscious and just learning about how to unlearn all those things that you learned or you created a blueprint for when you were younger. And also just understanding that sometimes even in your healing process, things things can also weigh you down, right? It doesn't always mean that you'll always be perfect, or you'll always be in a very high place, or you always be smiling, or you can be smiling but you're not okay. Because like this last quarter, it has been total anxiety. I think I've even told my therapist so much anxiety for me during this season. And it doesn't mean I'm not working or not healing. It just means that it's a season for me that, you know, there maybe there are things that are happening or things that are moving or something that makes me feel that way. So I think for me, just learning the psychology of how my brain, emotions, and self operate has been really important, and that resilience is part of self work. That don't feel like you working on these things, you being able to even like progress from one thing. Because I feel like sometimes the illness has been made to feel like, I don't know how to explain it that way. Sometimes it's also this way, and the whole end game is that at the end of the day, you become a better version of yourself. You learn yourself better. You're able to regulate. You're able to regulate is the most important thing. Regulate your emotions, your thoughts. You're more in control of yourself and not other things that are your thoughts or your emotions controlling you. You're able to kind of halt all those things and be able to regulate yourself. So I think that has been huge for me.
I think for me, my first lesson would be in terms of family. I feel like the many interactions that I've had with my family this year has really taught me a lot about patience and also like forgiveness. Because I found that the reason why I'd chosen this year to just put some space was because I was holding so much in, and I felt like it was building up a sense of like resentment. So the fact that I was able to interact more with family, I guess it gave me the lesson of being able to be in a position of just forgiving people, and that it doesn't have to be me going and telling them this and this happened, or you did this and this and you did this, but just the lesson of you can forgive and let go and then learn how to interact with those people, because that version of themselves and giving them grace can be, or maybe is a result of what happened to them when they were younger in relation to the book, what happened to you. So I feel like that kind of lesson of giving people grace because of an understanding of where or how somebody was conditioned earlier on. I feel like that now that lesson I took, especially with family, like just being in a point of, okay, this happened and this happened, but I can forgive you and I'm willing to go past it. Because now I feel like there's a sense of maturity, there's a sense of understanding more than maybe the other individual does, of how, or like how their actions are kind of tied down to what circumstance that they had to go through. So I feel like family has really taught me patience, has really taught me forgiveness, and I feel like it's a lesson to carry forward even to other people that I interact with, because it needs a lot of um I don't know, I feel like it needs a lot of grace to transfer that kind of forgiveness constantly to other people, because sometimes it can get to a point where you are overlooking some stuff. So I hope it doesn't get to that, but I feel like the biggest lesson there for me has been just around forgiveness and being really intentional of moving past things and letting things go and not constantly ripping a band-aid over something at every instance that you get. So yeah.
I think the other one for me, which I think is huge, going even 2023. I don't know if it's relationship. I don't think, but I think it's in the realm of relationship, whichever relationship that is, friendship, romantic, family. I think just finding your own happiness within yourself and being able to love yourself the way you'd want other people to love you, and understanding that the basis of how people interact and also show love to you is so much so on how you reflect that to them, like how you reflect how you love yourself to others. That's how they also get to love you and show you. Just like your friends, like if your friends know you are like this kind of person, like if they knew that you like partying, they'll come and tell you, oh, let's go out. You'll always be the person they call when they want to go out. They know you, like you're not a party person, they won't. So it's like, in a way, how you present yourself to different people, that's how those people tend to receive you. And this happens also in our relationships, like how you present yourself in a relationship, it becomes easily the kind of, that's how essentially that person will take you or receive you or love you in a way. So, and you need to be able to love yourself in a way that if these things or this person, they're not there, you can still be able to feel loved. You can still be able to feel like you are worth it, because we put a lot of our self-worth on relations that we have in our lives. And so when that relation is out, it's like a piece of you has gone, because a lot was built in terms of that relation. So I think going forward, something I'm very intentional about, even as you do whatever you're doing, is it making you happy? Are you feeling fulfilled? Are you feeling like this is something that you still want to do for yourself? And it's okay if you loved something before and you don't love it again, or it doesn't make you happy, and it gives you a chance to explore other things that make you happy and don't feel ashamed to do it. And something I've been drumming up, like nowadays when I do something, I'm like, am I happy about it? How am I feeling about it? Am I loving myself? Do I feel like I am putting, when I'm relating with someone, is there a part of me that I'm having to tone down so that the other person can be accommodated in my life? And how is this relation helping me, or what am I reflecting outwards? I think for me, still a work in progress. I don't think I'm there yet, because we are usually our biggest critic, and usually we can easily forgive like other people in regards to things they've done to us, but sometimes it's usually hard to contemplate that even you allowed them to do those things to you, and it becomes harder to forgive yourself, and it becomes harder to love yourself. And so I think that has been one of the things I've been working towards, just embracing things that make me happy. And if those things change up along the way, then I need to create, I need to have grace within myself. I need to create space for myself to do those things, and be able to write down, what does happiness mean to me? What does love mean to me? What does all these things mean to me? When you're about to do something, what does this thing mean to me? What is my intention with this thing? So that you kind of understand how you need to be showing up in all these different things, and you're also constantly in tune with yourself, and it's not yourself here, then other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I love what you said about toning down, like being in a space of not allowing yourself to tone down to accommodate somebody else. I feel like that's a very big lesson. I think another thing for me this year, other than just putting it as self care or wellness, I feel like I've really learned to sit still in myself. I feel like that's one thing I had a big challenge on, because internally there's a lot of I guess commotion or fracas or whatever it's called, like maybe even anxiety to some degree. So I feel like this year I've really learned to sit still in myself, and it has given me so much peace to be able to see stuff out of myself. You know how you can sit still and then view your emotions outwardly? So you're able to see, okay, I felt like this, or I feel like this because of this, or I feel like this just because I feel like this. There's not even a substantial reason. So I feel like one of the biggest lessons for me this year has been the value of sitting still within myself, just to kind of contemplate stuff and feel through stuff, especially feeling through stuff. Because nowadays, even if I feel something and I can't explain it, I don't try to put it away. I try to feel my way through that feeling, even if I don't know why I'm feeling a certain way. And I feel like it gives me, because internally I'm like, okay, why am I feeling like this? And then I try to look for the reason behind it. And it's very difficult, especially when you find there's no reason. It makes you you go back and think, Akiritas, as in, you're so petty, So I feel like that sense of being still in myself, taking time to listen to myself, the quietness, like taking some time off, like in my room, that quietness has really helped me gain a sense of stability and a sense of sanity. Because initially I was feeling like there's a lot of noise in my head, but now I feel like I'm more calmer, in a sense. So I don't know how I came to that. Maybe it's because of trying to be aware of so many things, exposing myself to so much content around that. But that's a big lesson, the importance of just staying still and filtering through everything and not absorbing everything and retaining it. I feel that has been such a big lesson for me.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. I think it plugs. I think being alone helps a lot, and I know most times, and I think if I watch this discussion so many times in this house, we just don't have cameras around to capture the information, but how being alone helps, and being alone in solitude, not being alone and wanting to be with other people, like being alone and appreciating that aloneness. And it's usually very uncomfortable, mostly when you're dealing with something, because sometimes you need to deal with that specific thing that is disturbing you. But also when you learn these things and you know you're an emotional person, so essentially, like what you're saying in What Happened to You, it says we are first emotional before we think. So even before you start contemplating anything, you're already emotional about it, and then that's when it gets to your cortex, where you are able now to like process the emotions, and now it becomes like a thought, or now you can make sense out of it, because your body is just responsive fast. So I think it's being alone helps you to hold your thoughts, have experience a feeling, and then give it time to process mentally, like from your cortex, so that you can be able to make sense of it. But when you are constantly around other things, you feel it, but you don't get to process it. So you get angry but you don't understand why you got angry. You feel low but you don't understand. Or maybe you just needed time out but you didn't understand you needed time out because you didn't have time to process those emotions. You didn't give the emotions to get time to process themselves, to make sense of themselves. I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah. So I think it's really important, and I think also for me, I really like being alone. We like being together. I like being together with her. Just because out of this podcast, Saki Kwanashida. But I also enjoy spending time alone a lot. Cause I don't know, I just feel, and it doesn't even bother me. Like I just feel like I don't know, like open and I can do things. I can shout, I can scream, I can talk to myself, I can cry, I can, whatever I feel like I wanna do at that point, I can do it because I don't feel like there's anything that would restrict me, and it comes easier to deal with things, personally deal with things when I'm alone, because I can view it in whatever spectrum, and I'm able to just be in a way. Yeah. I think the other thing, maybe in terms of work or something, is ask. It's something we are gonna implement next year, but also this year, asking questions, asking people, can you show me this? Asking people, how can I do this? Mostly at work. Yeah, like at work, I think we really send emails for the pettiest of things that I think I know how I should do, but because I'm not really sure, you just ask. So just ask. And people are always there to kind of help or assist. And then people who have like just created time for us for this podcast, just put time and just said, yeah, I'll come through, not paid them, nothing. Like they just, out of their own willingness, they came to support us. And if we never took the step to ask them, maybe they would not have shared the wisdom that you have gotten out of this podcast. So just ask, and also just communicate it. Maybe if something you're feeling like it's not okay, just communicate it, just say it. I think also that, communicating things is important. I think sometimes it's really hard, and I think I've not cracked it yet, but I've like made good progress, I think, of just communicating to people when I feel like something has been crossed, or I enjoyed something, or when I did enjoy something. So I think just learning how to communicate it with people, just being able to voice out things within is really important. Even just communicating your needs to people, or what is your expectation to people. I think it makes life a bit more easier, and mostly when it comes to relating with people, so that you don't have these expectations. This other person has this expectation, but you kind of find an alignment and see whether your expectations are aligned or not. And if they are not, then like, okay, sour. And if they are, then you can be able to even set systems or mechanisms in how to best sustain those relations. So yeah,
that's a good one, especially communicating. I also feel like that's a growth area, like something I'm still working on. What other lesson? I guess in terms of work, I feel like the biggest lesson is you can learn from anyone.
Yeah.
And I say that because we have like the youngest member in my team, and I have learned so much from her in terms of, nowadays I'm like, she's Gen Z, I'm millennial, because she's very conversant with some of these tools, like trends, even the way she puts together her communications, it's very eye-catchy. So I feel like work has really taught me you can learn across board. You can learn from people who are younger than you, your same, like your age mates, the people that are older than you, and it's important to have that kind of mindset of not limiting yourself to only learn from a set number of, like from a set group of people, but broadening your mind to learn from everywhere, from everyone, everywhere. I feel like it gives you a wholesome view because you're able to relate to people across age, across gender, and all those things. So I feel like work has really taught me the value of continuous learning, which is one of the huge values that we have, like continuous learning across board, and that exposing yourself to people from even different parts of the continent, which broadens up your mind. So I feel like that has been really key, and also having the grace to teach. I feel like that's also something I've really learned this year, is taking time to teach, to instruct, to kind of guide in a way, and that has been really key for me because that's something I really want to do a lot in 2023. So I feel like 2022 was like, and sorry for the background noise. We live near, yeah, that's the gate actually. So, but ignore it. So learning to, sorry, the lesson in terms of teaching and instructing and then getting feedback and things like those, I feel like that has been a really huge thing. And I did something I haven't done because I went and did teaching on communication and public speaking and things like those. So I felt like that was also a lesson for me in my capacity to venture into something like that. So I felt like I really learned something new about myself. And then I also learned getting that feedback because these are very young people that I've had the fortune of interacting with. So growth, learning, and then teaching and instructing have been really big lessons for me. And that grace to do both. You learn, but you also teach. You teach, but you can also learn. So not limiting myself to one thing or feeling that I'm too grown up or too, I don't know why, is to not take in more knowledge.
Yeah, I think for me, when I'm starting something new or I meet people who know better than me, I just apply the I'm a learner mentality. Like I'm just here to learn. When I started my job this year, just told myself this is like I'm back to Form 1, so I just need to be ready to learn, to listen, to observe, to even when I'm setting my goals, my performance goals. You usually have like what the company has for you, and then you have like one goal that is you set it for yourself. And my manager was like, yeah, I think that my goal was just to learn. I just want to learn and understand what my role is all about and how I can be able to achieve the best results in this role. And for me, because of interacting, I think I've interacted with so many people and that I've seen value can be gotten from anywhere. I think some of the people who have come through for us, Clarence, who else? Lewis, people that you have been working with, Kevin, people who we have been working with are just like young people. People who have been working with us actually most of this year, guys from the gym, like young people. And then you realize it's, we are all here to kind of like pour into each other in your specific way. And if you feel like you are too much of something, then you're unable to first pour out to others, and also for you to receive and your cup to be poured into.
I feel like that's an ego thing.
Yeah. So I think it's important to teach and to learn. But I think for me this year mostly I've been just a learner. I've been very humble. People think students are very humble. I don't think I've been very humble all the time, but I have adopted to the learning mentality because that a lot of things I've done this year have required me to be in a position of learning than actually teaching. And so the other thing I was to say is my other, in terms of like, I think just life in general, and I think things that you want to do, consistency and discipline. I think this mostly has worked because of the fitness thing, fitness and gym and not dieting, but like my food program.
Healthy eating,
if I would call it that. Consistency and discipline. When you see these reels where they say motivation does not keep you going, but I think it's the discipline that keeps you going. Like the motivation can take you to this leg, but then you need the discipline to take you to the longer. So
Yeah.
I think the discipline of being able to just work from home and work consistently, the discipline of waking up every day, and going to the gym, the discipline of being able to cut off like carbs and like changing up my meal plans to fit my goals and being consistent to that, and admitting when it's difficult and when it's easy. The discipline of what else have we been disciplined on? Oh, reading. Yes, reading. Being disciplined to make sure that, you know, if you start the book, being able to understand in the season in which in what book you need to be reading at for that season or at that point. Just the consistency of making sure that I'm in a place where I'm learning and relearning, and understanding that there are things that I need to deal with, and being consistent with learning about those things. So consistency and discipline has been important for me this year to be able to achieve whatever. Consistent with savings and the money, and all those things are habits that you build, and they start kidogo kidogo to kidogo kidogo to.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't need to be like huge. When you started the gym, you just used to go for aerobics, which in two of those classes we did nothing because we didn't understand the trainer. But despite that, we continued, and now like there's so much progress within a year's time that I think we would not have achieved without that kind of consistency, that kind of progress, even putting like systems to make sure that we are accountable to, because sometimes you don't want to put people accountable so that you don't have to report to anyone. But sometimes it's important to put people who are accountable, so that you after okay, because in default sometimes in a default human beings are like procrastinators, and you just want to be, and it's easy for us to retreat to our comfort zone. So consistency and discipline, they are hard things to do, but they are necessary.
And I feel like in the same breath, like the guys who like helped us even in terms of, even if it's just like almost the last quarter of the year, I feel like Nathan and David have really like come through helping us be consistent, even pushing, because sometimes we go even extra weights than what we would have usually done. So I feel like we have not forgotten them, but definitely feeling so grateful for that. And that accountability that you talked about, I think it's very important, and they help us and we help them help each other keep us accountable. So
and also our trainer, our initial trainer.
Because
he was here. He came through. I think he started us in the journey of weight lifting, which we were scared of, but I think he gave us like a nudge, gave us a system to work with,
a whole timetable.
And I think that system has really helped us. And also just like give us more information. What do we need to change up? What do we need? And when those changes started coming, when he started implementing the changes, we started seeing change. And I think he would be like our number one person this year. Would appreciate, because he taught us I would say like the secrets. With a lot of this, like secrets to achieving your fitness goals. And that it's actually that information, I think, for me, that I've seen such a huge shift within very few months. So big ups to Aladdin, and you can even watch his video. He actually we have a podcast with him. I can't remember what episode, but we are going to plug
your
it in.
Fitness journey.
So I think we'll plug the video, and then you can get to watch and hear what he has to say about starting in your own fitness journey.
Let's see. I think the last one for me, because I think I'll also read out the comments that we got for guys who are just describing their year in one word. But the last lesson that for me I'm really taking into 2023 is that love is freeing. And I don't know where I had it. I can't really remember, but I feel like it really stuck with me, and also because I've seen so many um different people, whether it's family or relationships. I've seen so many people be, let's say, in romantic relationships, but they're still able to do so much just in their individual capacity, in their careers and things like those, and then the other person supporting them. I think Shoshe is a good example. Auntie is a good example. Like, she is a whole GM of a company, and the spouse is there supporting her. So I feel like that really stuck in, like, love is not supposed to be a cage. Rather, it's supposed to free you up to really, like, spread your wings, to do more, to expound or expand or whatever. And then you're able also to carry the other people in your life because they've given you that ability to fly. So that has been a big lesson for me this year, even as I go into 2023, to continually have, or like, seek out a love that's freeing like that, and also give people that, so that somebody doesn't feel trapped by how I love them, but they feel like they're more empowered to
More
move.
supported.
Yeah, more supported. I feel like that's a big lesson for me.
I think just to add into that is life. Like, I feel like, not because I've experienced it, but I think in a way I have. Like, life is not just a one way. Like, it's like there's so many ways you can live life, and just allow yourself to explore and just put yourself in different situations, because you can't know all the different situations, that you can't know exactly. I don't know how to put it. Like, until you do things, that's when you can know whether they work for you or not. And until, like, if you just sit there and just like, no, I don't think that can work, no, I think this can work, I think that. If you do that, then you're not allowing yourself to explore all the different opportunities. I'm not saying that go there and be crazy. I'm just saying, like, just give yourself a chance to live life, experience it in your own way. Just be in a place where you're fulfilled. Whatever you're doing is making you happy. It's making you feel a form of fulfillment and contentment. And I know a lot of things that sometimes you want to do are shame based, but don't feel shame for things that make you happy. Make them so casual, like even the people who are supposed to make you feel shameful are the ones who are, like, uncomfortable in a way. And so just life is not just like, it's not just the one. It's not like get out of CGWAP and get a job. Sometimes it can be, you don't finish school and then you have this other job, and then you have, like, it's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can live life, and it's not just one way. And feel validated in the different way you wanna live your life. It's okay to live your life differently from how other people, even your family members, have gone about it, or you deciding to choose a different path for yourself. Just feel freeing. Just feel free. Let yourself, don't limit yourself. And there's on Saturday, someone said sometimes the obstacles are created by people, not yourself. Not those obstacles are created. For example, if you ask someone, is this course difficult or easy? Then they tell you it's difficult. In your mind, you already see that course as difficult, or you already, like, conclude that it's not, it's already difficult. But that obstacle that you have already created in your mind was created by someone else. But essentially, that course can be easy, right? So just I think it's okay to listen to other people's experiences and what they're doing, but also just create a space within yourself to be able to also see it for yourself, but still, like, listening to advice and mentorship and all those things, but also have, like, your own path or carved out for yourself in a way.
That makes me remember something Aisha said today, that some of the things that you want to do, the people who hold you back are the people closest to you, and they're holding you back not because they don't love you, but because they're terrified of what if you don't succeed or something like that. So I guess it's really important to filter, even for the people closest to you. Just learning how to filter it out, and just, like Leah said, just taking a chance and just doing it. What's the worst thing that can happen? you'll just learn.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important.
Just to add a bit of that, and I think it's about trusting yourself.
Yeah.
I think we don't trust ourselves enough. And I think like my no part of my anxiety at this period of time is me not trusting myself in things. And being the final year, you feel like I feel like there's pressure for like, I don't know, that there's like some form of pressure. But when you stop trusting yourself, you feel like all other things are the ones that are in control and you're not. But essentially, if you trust yourself, then you feel like you're more in control of your choices, of your decisions, of everything that you do, even in your relationships and stuff like that. When you trust yourself more, you're able to get yourself even out of situations that you're not supposed to be in. You're also able to make better choices for yourself, able to explore more things because you're like, I trust myself enough to see myself through the situation, or I trust myself enough to deal with whatever that comes. So I think trusting myself has really helped me. You can even tap into things that you've done before that you're scared of, and then you got through. So trusting that I can actually do this has seen me do some of the things that maybe were a bit scary for me to do this year.
Cool. So before we close out, so we'd asked what is your word for summing up 2022, and we got a number of responses. And you already shared yours. Do you mind repeating?
Resilience. Oh, my word when I started this year was peace. And then, but I think across boards, the whole year, just like when I look back, has been resilience. So I feel like I've also achieved a sense of peace. Like a lot of things that I've done. So I've done things that I wanted to do this year. So I feel like that also brought in a sense of peace. Apart from now, but yeah.
Cool. So for me, I wrote feeling, which means figuring it out. So I feel like, which is trash. Trash. Yo. Slash slash boldness. So I've just felt like this year has been full of that, like being bold, trying new things that I haven't done before, taking a chance at just healing through things like therapy. So I feel like bold kind of like sums up my 2022. And we got Gina, who said that she definitely failed this year properly. So that's really good. And then we have another who said favor. So they felt like this year has been full of favor. Yeah, that's a nice one. And then we have another one who says roller coaster, fine and scary. I feel like there are a lot of lessons there. And then we have the last one who said feeling, I guess. So this is after they learned about the verb. So thank you for picking it up. And that's what the whole podcast is about. Just trying to figure out how to navigate things, different aspects of our life, by learning from each other every single day, from each other's experiences and things like those, and then being humble enough to accept lessons from other people, being gracious enough to give lessons to other people. So yeah, I feel like 2022 has been really in theme with our name.
Yeah, very true. I think it's a continuous journey. No one has reached the epitome. No one ever reaches the epitome. Even at 80 years old, you're still figuring out some things. No matter how like you think you have more wisdom at that point, right? So as you are working towards getting to that wisdom, also just share with us how has your 2022 been, in more details. What are the lessons that you've learned? What are the things that you're most grateful for? And I think for me, just remind we are in also holiday time. Just be around family, be around people who love you, but also like just be able to open up. I feel like I want to mention like the guy who has just passed away, and I feel like that thing is so close to me in a way, and I don't know why. And the guy DJ Twitch, right? Yeah, and he passed on. I think committed suicide. That's what I've read. I don't want to say that is it. That's what I've read. And when you go through his feed and stuff, and you see, and he looked so happy, And I know at this point, at this time, we have come from a very hard economic year. People have lost jobs. Things have become a bit tougher than they were before. A lot of things have just happened over the last 2 years. So make sure you just check in and tell the other person that you don't want them to say I'm okay. Like use other words. To describe how they are. Check in on your loved ones. And also if you feel like maybe just inbox us. We won't share, or you feel like you need to talk to someone, or you want to say something, just enter. The good thing about being a stranger to someone else, you can just tell them. You can just offload without it, and without it like coming back to you, because you feel like you're a bit distant in a way. So make sure you also taking care of yourself, checking in with yourself during this holiday time. It's so easy for people to overlook that, because everyone this should be like a joyful period, but sometimes it's not usually for everyone. So we love you, and see you after Christmas.
So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas. Have fun. Have merry with your family, not with your family, friends, or however you plan to spend your Christmas.
Spend it the way you want to
spend it. The way you want to spend it. And make sure you subscribe, so that you're able to see us again next year, and that's how you get to support us. Also support our Instagram channel at we_r_fio, all social media platforms. And we have a merch brand, iamfio.ke. We are selling hoodies and t-shirts for Christmas, a Christmas edition, but we're also going to be having like other kind of designs for mostly next year. It's like think bold, be bold, or like courage and stuff like that. And so we'll leave all the link on the description in the video. So make sure you follow us, buy our merch, support us, so that you're able to keep this going, build a bigger community, be able to support you better, and produce better content. So thank you, and see you.